Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Elite Life with Sam. I'm here with my beautiful friend, Nashville sweetheart, Laura Schweizer. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Hopefully today we are going to expose a whole different side of Laura that you've never seen before. Now, I'm going to be honest. This is probably the most nervous I have been for a podcast episode.
What?
Because we are here with the queen of media. What do you mean, what?
Stop.
You are an entire vibe, but you're so well trained. You've been doing this for how long?
I mean, countless years. Over 15.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is literally second nature for you.
I mean, I've developed my craft. I'm nervous too, though, right now. I never get the tables turned.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I promise that I'll make it easy and painless.
Okay.
So tell me about where this started. Is this something you've always wanted to do?
Yes.
Even as a child?
Yes, as a child. Remember the old camcorders with,
Yes.
like, VHS tapes?
The big bricks.
Yes.
Yes.
We used to have that at home, the home video camera, and we would make videos at home, and I'd be like, "Hi, I'm Barbara Walters," and my sister, "Oh, and this is Kate Winslet and her child," and it's my two sisters. I mean, I would do like TV shows in my bedroom, in my living room, so I always knew I wanted to do this. Always.
I love hearing that. That's incredible. So where did you grow up? Tell me about your childhood.
Okay, so I grew up in west suburbs of Chicago, so very white neighborhood, and went to a very integrated junior high, which I feel like was my first taste of like, okay, this is what the real world is like. Mm-hmm. I felt like I didn't really fit in there, but that's cool. Like, I mean, I feel like I took a back seat. I observed a lot, and kind of, I was always the good girl. Mm-hmm. Be perfect, be good. My mom is not a perfectionist at all. She's like so laid back, both my parents. But I was always like, okay, just be good, follow the rules. High school, I was wild.
Went out the window.
Oh yeah, all the way out the window. I mean, I got in trouble. My parents got divorced in high school.
Okay.
Which is really tough. I mean, it's tough on kids.
Yeah.
And you don't realize until later on when you're a kid how much of an impact it's had on you.
Yes.
But I lashed out. I went crazy. I mean, I got in trouble, big time trouble. I just talked about this with my boyfriend's child about how, hey, you know, even me who you think I'm, you know, Miss Perfect, I got in trouble too. And my parents ended up getting back together.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
It's the craziest story. It's what every child dreams of,
Yeah.
but it's really hard. It's really messed up. Can I swear on this?
Absolutely.
Okay. Oh, yay.
Wait just a second. Wait.
She swears. She swears. Yeah, I mean, it's really fucked up. Like,
You can say it full voice.
I know.
Just say it.
Fucked up. Fuck. But it is. It's like, you know, you get used to your parents being separated and then coming back together. So it was really tough on me.
Yeah.
But I always stayed focused on who I am, who I want to be. And that was, I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to tell people stories. I wanted to be a light in the community. I remember thinking, like, if I could be a big name, even in a small town, and just really be involved in things, that's what I want to do. Not necessarily, like, go to Good Morning America, but if I could have an impact on the people around me, that's what I really want to do.
Yeah. So how do you feel like your involvement in the local... Oh, okay, wait, before I ask that. So you were in Chicago.
Yeah.
You graduated
Yep.
in that area. Where did you go to college?
I went to Illinois State University.
Okay.
It's a central Illinois.
Yep.
Week after graduation, I'm like, okay, I want the dream job in the dream location, which in broadcast journalism, like you start out podunk town and then work your way up. I was like, I'm not going to do that. So I'm like, okay, well, my dream location, if I can have one of them, is Colorado. My best friend lived out there. I'm like, I'm moving out there. I remember driving out there being like, whoa, this is like hands on the steering wheel of life. Like, it's all in my control.
Yeah.
I have the choice to do whatever I want
Yes.
in life. And that was so liberating. Now, I worked at a ski resort for 2 months. I worked on this, what was supposed to be a reality TV show on this, like, horse ranch. Never got paid for, like, 3 months.
Oh, yeah, they're bad about that. Yes.
Yes. Shout out to production companies that pay.
Yep.
And then I got a job in sales, and it was at the radio, it was at a radio station, and it was the toughest job, sales.
Yes.
But it taught me life skills that I still, to this day, use. Life is about relationships, and I will never, ever take that for granted, that lesson.
Yeah.
And then one day in Durango, Colorado, small town, like 17,000 people.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, we're looking in the paper. We're looking for, someone who has TV experience to tell news stories. You better believe I was right there knocking on their door saying, oh my gosh, that's me. I went to school for broadcast journalism. Like, I had 4 years of experience at the college station, created an entertainment show that's still running to this day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Multi-award winning.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And I said, hey, I'm the perfect person. I work part-time.
Yeah.
And
so my schedule's flexible.
Well, and so I had to make money at some point.
Yeah.
And I'm like, my mom's like, well, why don't you go to that saloon, the Diamond Bell Saloon? And if you look it up, you will never believe that I worked there.
Describe this place for all the listeners.
This is like old cowboys, Indians. The bar is still the same from the 1800s. Like, this is true Yellowstone style, where the girls wear corsets and fishnets and feathers. And I worked there for 3 months. And I remember, like, mid-shift, like, why is this guy looking me up and down? Like, I'm looking at him in the eye, like, sir, what can I get you? That's how naive I am. And I'm like, okay, this is... So I talked him into the newspaper that had this, like, online publication, if you will, online platform. And I said, hey, I really need to do this full time. If you're going to take a risk on me, I will deliver 110%. So I did the local news and I did feature stories. And I had this, I would go out and I would do, I had this segment called Laura Schweizer Weekend Warrior, where I was like, hey, I'm myself.
Yeah.
I can go out, I'll do skydiving, I'll go rock climbing, I will ride on the back of someone's motorcycle, but I was always myself.
All the things that people want to do through you.
Yes, but I always stood to be Laura Schweizer. Like, hey, I am, timid and sweet, but you can, if I can do it, you can do it. That's how I started the segment every time. If I can do it, you can do it. Mainly to inspire people to get out there and try new things.
Yeah, I love that. At such a young age, you were still willing to put yourself out there. And so a lot of times people feel like they have to embody a persona.
Yeah.
To be out in front of the public. How do you feel like you made sure that didn't happen? You just said that you really intended to show up as yourself. How did you kind of push against that pressure?
It's so interesting because in the sales position, I would go into, and I consider that as like my first real job out of college. Mm-hmm. I would get nervous before these sales meetings. And I don't know where this came from, but I one day looked in the mirror and I'm like, okay, I am Laura Schweizer and no one else is me. And it just gave me this empowerment, like, hey, I am the only one who's me, so I better freaking show up and do the best me, Laura Schweizer, that I can.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that, like, the more that I do that, the more that I show up authentically, more people appreciate me, more people love me. And I think that goes to show, like, when you have that self-love of, like, hey, I might be silly and I might be, you know, I might not have tattoos and I'm still riding on the back of a motorcycle, and that's okay, and they can still find me to be a good person because they see me. Why not do that?
Exactly. You know, they say that because you believe in energy and all of that, that the highest level of energy that you can embody is authenticity and love. And so you knowing that at such a young age to embody authenticity and show up loving yourself so just simply, that is actually the highest form energetically that you can present yourself as.
Oh, I love it.
I feel like, girl, you knew.
I mean, I feel like I wanted to know. I feel like in all of that, it was a goal to try to just be comfortable within myself.
And it's exhausting being scared all the time.
Oh my gosh.
It's not worth it.
And people can sniff out when you're not yourself.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
They know it.
Yeah. And that actually blocks everything that you're trying to accomplish.
Yes.
That's that energetic, you know, it has to be an energetic exchange. You have to be open for them to be open with you. And when you show up inauthentically, then that immediately puts up a barrier. So the fact that you intuitively knew that is so impressive to me. So you get this amazing opportunity to show up as yourself, Miss Weekend Warrior. Where do you go from there?
See, the craziest part is, so I moved to Denver and I had some freelance jobs, basically building my reel. I always wanted to work at a news station. Again, I didn't take the typical route of broadcast journalism. Students and those who are wanting to be in the field, I went the opposite way. I'm like, oh, well, I'll go for the location. Well, so that created some barriers. You know, like I moved to Denver and I'm like, oh, well, I'll work at the news station there. I applied 40, 50 times. No one even looked at my resume.
Wow, that had to be really discouraging.
Yeah, totally. You think, and I don't know how many times I threw up my hands in the air like, God, if I'm not supposed to do this, why do I want it so bad in my heart? Like, why? And a dream of mine was to always go to Hawaii and live in Hawaii. And I went on vacation there the summer of 2017 or 18. And I'm like, this is it. I've got to do it. And I applied and I heard back. And I interviewed and then I didn't hear back. And I mean, when I want something, I will push for it.
Yeah.
But in a kind and respectful way, of course. The Laura Schweizer way.
Right.
And I bluffed. I wrote the news director at the time. I said, hey, I'm going to be in Hawaii this date. And I didn't hear back from him. Well, I'm notorious for not checking my personal Gmails. I have like 100,000 unread messages.
Doesn't surprise me.
And finally, my Gmail loaded and he's like, great, I'll see you that weekend. And I'm like, shit, I have to get a ticket to Hawaii. So I did, went out there, met him, and he hired me 5 days later.
Wow.
And I got my dream job in Hawaii. And I loved being the new girl. Like, let me preface this whole story by saying I love introducing myself. Hi, making new friends. This is who I am. I can't wait to get to know you. But I got there and it was really hard.
Yeah. I've heard that so many times, that to infiltrate.
Yeah. Be an outsider.
Yeah.
Coming in.
It's very hard.
And I get it. Like, I get it. To an extent. Respectfully. That actually it's so funny. So, I get there and I'm trying to make friends. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people wouldn't even look me in the eye for a while. And I was considered a manager at that point at the station.
Okay.
And this guy who was an anchor at the time comes over to me and he gives me my first Spam musubi, which I'm obsessed with, and it's disgusting and amazing at the same time. It's Spam on top of rice. And he's like, you should talk like this and speak like this on camera. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy telling me how to speak? Like, I know how to be myself again. Right. I know how to speak. I'm not going to do something that someone else is going to tell me if it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still friends with the guy. And my boyfriend said, what'd you think of her when you first met her? And he said, I thought she was stuck up. And, and this was 2 months ago when he said this about me. And that experience in Hawaii was one of the most humbling experiences. Because I was showing up, I was being my authentic self, and people still didn't like me.
How do you feel like you got through that? What did you cling to?
I clung to telling other people's stories and lifting people up. So I had this segment, this like trending segment, and I could have talked about celebrities and what they were doing, but I found these like authentic videos of this girl who, Ashley, I think her name was, who lost like 20 pounds. And she was on this weight loss journey. And I honored her. And she was like, thank you so much for seeing me. And that's what I did. I saw other people, shine the spotlight on them, and took it off of myself.
Yeah.
And I think that's what authenticity means. It's like, if you know how to ground yourself in who you are, why don't you bring out the light in other people?
Yes. Yep, exactly. I do think that there's something to be said about shying away from the celebrities and the easy go-to stories, because people are inundated with those and they're almost worn out from it, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And people are craving real, relatable, authentic stories of encouragement. Like you said, if I can do it, you can do it too. That is gold. And I think that gets lost in the shuffle of those paid, tabloid magazines. And you see everywhere you look, you see the headlines of like the top 20. And so I think that is really, really special and a gift. How very, very Cancer of you. I love that.
I'm a feeler.
You really are. You really are. But you are not afraid to take your cute little shoes and knock down a door. I love that so much, that you leaned into your, not just your authenticity, but your also femininity, and use that as a strength. So you're in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And you figured it out.
I did.
And you started pointing, the spotlight at other people.
Yeah. And then I was accepted.
And then you were
And then
accepted.
all these, I had a total, I wouldn't say fan base, but friends.
Followers. Friends,
Yes.
Yeah.
And people who supported me in the community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How long were you in Hawaii?
About 3.5 years.
That's a long time.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And then during COVID, I'm like, I want more. I want more out of my career. I don't know what it looks like. So I was interviewing in San Diego and Nashville, and I really wanted to live in San Diego, of course. Yeah. I was like, Nashville.
Yeah. It's kind of had a reputation.
Yeah, I didn't even know, really, to be honest. I was just like, well, San Diego's beautiful. I don't really know about Nashville. And I had a conversation with the news director at both stations, and I'm like, no, San Diego, we didn't vibe.
No.
Nashville, completely. I even talked to him about how, I said, well, will I fit in Nashville? He said, yeah.
Absolutely.
My friend at the time here who lived here said, blondes thrive in Nashville.
You're cute, you're blonde, you're blue-eyed. You are like human honey. Oh. Yeah, you'll fit right in.
Oh, human honey. I like that one. And I took the job and I was miserable. What? Literally miserable for several months. I was working for Good Morning Nashville. I woke up at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, I understand.
Get there at 3. I was pulling warrants, going down to Metro Police, finding all of the criminals from the night before, looking for the felons who I could talk about. And I was like internalizing as a cancer feeler all these hard stories of like crimes that are so disgusting and horrible. And I'm like, is this it? Is this it? And I kept just being like, okay, I'm going to hang in there. I know this is for a reason. I know this is for a reason. I just kept believing that. In all of like the hard times, I feel like I've always leaned to like, all right, there's a reason for this.
Yeah.
There's a reason for this. And then the GM at my station said, we're launching a lifestyle show. And I'm like,
funny you say that. I have a lifestyle.
I actually do. And like I said, when I want something, I will go after it. I was like, applied the first or second day they posted it.
Yeah.
I even created a whole PowerPoint presentation of why I should be hired and all of my experience. Hounded them every single day. My current boss is probably like, God, she was so annoying, so I had to hire her.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, by hook or by crook.
Yes.
You get what you want.
Oh, I love that saying. I'm using that.
Stick around, kid.
Am I cool enough to use that, though?
Absolutely.
And I got the job, and it's a dream job, and truly is, like I said 5 minutes ago or 10, whatever. I wanted to be someone in a community, making a difference, talking about positive stories, and just being a part of something. And Nashville has the most beautiful community I've ever lived in.
So you weren't here for the 2010 floods.
No.
But I'm sure you have seen the footage and heard the stories about it. We were here. I moved here in 2008. Had my son in 2009. That was the weekend of his first birthday. And I remember people leaving his first birthday party and getting stuck in the flood. People were stranded everywhere. I could stand up on the hill where we lived and watch things float down, like school pods float down the interstate. And it was the most terrifying experience. You really do think, this is the end of the world for us.
Yeah.
And so when all of this happened in East Tennessee and North Carolina, oh my gosh, our community cried for our neighbors. But that was the first experience really seeing what Nashville could do. When I tell you, they jumped into action so quickly. When the relief workers got here, the aides got here, they were being told what to do by the locals. They were like, hey, we've got this handled. You run over there, you do this, you do that. It's the most incredible display of humanity that I've ever seen. I've never witnessed it anywhere else. And then again, happened again after the bombings downtown. And, just time after time. Covenant, oh my gosh, that was horrendous. But truly, you never would expect, because Nashville kind of has the reputation of being a good time town. And you really don't expect the steadfast love that our community has for one another. And so as the kind of outsiders have moved in over the past few years since COVID has happened, it has been honestly concerning. Like, we've wondered, are things going to change? Are they going to? No. They love it so much. It's infectious. It doesn't matter where you're from, how long you've been here. You're just kind of expected to jump in with the locals and do the right thing and treat each other right. And it's been so incredible to watch. Has that been your experience since you've gotten here and integrated yourself into the community, really seeing that?
Absolutely. And I think and I love being able to speak from the outsider perspective, because Nashville has grown, I think, like 300% since 1990. So a majority of us are newcomers. And
I was.
And not the unicorns who have been here their entire life. I think that you hit the nail on the head, that when you show other people love, it is infectious. I think that one thing that I learned from being in Hawaii is honoring the past and honoring the history and getting to know that. And I think that when you do that, you definitely can, gain appreciation from the locals who are the unicorns.
Yeah.
If you just honor that.
Yeah. You don't have to have that firsthand experience or knowledge, but really sitting back, listening, learning, and respecting it goes a long way.
So true.
So, you showed up here in Nashville, and you've been through some things since you've moved here, too. Even with your station, you had a co-host, and he left. What was that like?
Well, she left, so Larissa was with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Joe, no, it's okay. Joe was the fill-in. After Larissa left.
Okay.
And her situation is totally her own story. But it was a lot of hard work. I mean,
Yeah.
it's 7 live guests most of the time, in and out. You have to know and really do research. At least I do, because I want to respect people and I want to share their best story. It was really hard.
Yeah.
But...
Because that all fell on you at that point, right?
Right. A lot of responsibility.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of responsibility. But it was a challenge on me to be like, okay, how are you going to show up in this moment? Like, this is your time to really, like, either shine or crumble. Like, I had no choice.
Yeah.
I had no choice. And I was ready for it, but it was exhausting.
Yeah. So how do they go through the process of choosing a co-host for you? Do you get to be part of that process?
I was asked questions about if I were interested in, say, people at the station, and who I would want to work with. And I named flat out Stephanie, who I am currently co-hosting with.
Yeah.
I had done a red carpet with her at CMA Awards after show, which is not the after party, not the actual party.
Right,
Unfortunately,
right.
it's a show. But we had worked together, and she has so many connections, and she is a local. Like, Larissa and I we weren't locals. Like,
Okay.
we weren't locals to Nashville. And I think that Stephanie brought that value and her connections, and she's been a journalist at WKRN for 20 years, and I'm like, okay, I think this would be a really, really great partnership.
I love that. So I have a few written out questions that I wanted to make sure that I was able to ask you. Mostly because I'm curious about it, but I'm sure if I am, everyone else is as well. How do you select the stories featured on Local On 2?
Well, people either send us stories or we'll see it. Like, I mean, the things that you see on Instagram, it's like, okay, we're talking about the community, we're talking about lifestyle, we're talking about trending items. So if you see a wine bar that's on Instagram that's new and hot, well, I want to go there and I want to showcase it and I want to tell their story. That's how I do it.
You have like the life. You get to go everywhere, get to know everyone, get to try everything.
It's such an honor. I am so grateful.
And get paid for it.
Yeah, I'm so grateful. You have no idea.
You're really living the life. I feel like I could name a handful of girls and I'm like, you got to do this. You're perfect for it.
Yeah.
Go. Don't get any tattoos. Just do this.
I have tattoos. I have 4.
No way.
I have 4.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Oh, they're all hidden, obviously.
Yes. Yes.
Could you tell us what they are?
Yes. The number 27, I got that when I was 16.
Wait.
That was, remember when I was crazy in high school?
Who's 27?
It's my lucky number. Born
Oh.
June 27th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was praying it wasn't a football player.
I know, right? Well, my best friend, her high school ex-boyfriend, she thought that I was after him. I said, no, it's my lucky number. It's not your, yeah.
He's lucky he has my number.
Exactly.
Okay, what are the other ones?
I have a cross on the back of my neck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I have a peace sign on my foot that's in Sanskrit. It was so random. I was 18 and my friend's like, all right, let's do it. And then, what's my other one? 1, 2, 3. Isn't it funny how you forget?
Girl.
Because it's just, it's just like, it's your body. It's part of you. Where is the other one? How am I forgetting? Is that it? It'll come to me.
Oh, well, maybe you want a fourth one. Okay, can you think of any memorable community things that you've covered that have really made an impact on you, whether it's a business or a happening, or what's something that you can think back on, or things, doesn't have to be one, that you're like, that right there, that'll stay with me forever?
Is it, I could name so many, like so many.
Yeah.
I think since we slightly mentioned it, the covenant thing, our show is live Monday through Friday. So that day, actually we were supposed to have this woman who I love her so much. It was a self-defense woman who has a self-defense business. I said, I think we're going to not do the show right now because we're in breaking news, which that's what happens. When breaking news happens, we get blown out.
Okay.
And we also felt like it was insensitive, even if we weren't, to talk about, hey, happy, fun things.
Yeah.
And obviously I spent my time in news, so had my producer, and we said, all right, this is our chance. Why don't we rally behind the community and have people talk about real things? So we invited a therapist out. We invited a teacher who's a friend of mine, and his conversation about how would you talk to not only your students, but how do you talk to your kids about something so hard? And he was so raw and real and cried, and it was like, okay, if we can show the community that we care about them, like even through conversation, hopefully they know that we're here, like this is what we're here for. We're here for the audience. We're not here to have fun and go to a wine bar. We're here for you. Like, I want you to go to the wine bar, like, because it's awesome.
Yeah.
But I want you to also find healing, and I also want you to find, like, comfort in the fact that, like, we've got your back, and here's something a way to talk to your kids. Yes, yesterday we had a family therapist on, and she was talking about split timing or split differences or something. And it's when you're with your kids, but you're on your phone. So your time is split.
Yeah.
And, my family, I thought, okay, well, how can I take this, what she's talking about, and apply it to my family dynamic?
Yeah.
And we had the best dinner that we probably have ever had together. We played this game. Now, I will tell you, this was my doing. This is my inspiration. But it was based off of the advice of this woman saying, just take the time, sit with your children, do things, interact with them. And we played the question game.
Yeah.
And I highly recommend it. And I said, all right, we're all going to go around, ask questions. It could be as simple as, what's your favorite color? To, what's the biggest lesson you learned about money? And we each asked questions, and we got to know each other. Yeah. But it was like something simple and small, like that I learned from a guest, that I think that, with that covenant situation, I hope that someone, even if it's just like a nugget of information, I hope that they can put it into practice.
Absolutely.
And it's helpful.
It's funny you say that, because we have a blended family as well, and we have a 15, 13, and 10-year-old. And I constantly feel like we're having to relearn our children as they grow older and they step into new places and new experiences in their life, and they're looking at different scenarios from a totally different perspective. We have one in high school, one in middle school, and one in elementary school. And so I feel like we can talk about the same subject over and over each year, but get completely different answers from them. And then we are constantly reintroducing ourselves as parents, because they're coming to the realization that, oh, they're real people. Like, they were 15 and 13 and 10 at one time. And so...
It took me a long time to learn that.
Right?
Like, it was like my parents were like, God, they knew everything. And then I'm like, okay, well, you're human. You've made mistakes. You've fucked up.
Yes. Oh, good job.
Thank you.
It's almost a relief as well as a burden, because you try to be perfect and you try to have all the answers and you try not to make a misstep. And so you have this incredible responsibility to guide these little humans. And I'm always telling Noah, like, give me grace. I've never raised a 15-year-old before. We're doing this together. He and I really did grow up together. I had him pretty young. I was 21 when I had him. And so we're figuring this out together, and we laugh a lot. You know, he came home for the first time with hickeys.
Yes.
And I was like, my flabbers were fully gasted, ma'am. He was laughing about it, showing me, and I was like, gutted. I'm like, you have a hickey? Now, granted, it was stupid and it was innocent, but we laughed about it, and we sat around the dinner table, and I'm like, you look like you've been strangled, kid. And he was like, you're super cool about this, Mom, you know?
Yes.
And so, but through this, we were able to have these conversations and realize, like, dude, I'm heavily uncomfortable.
Yes.
I don't want to have this conversation.
I just got off the phone with Jeff because I said, I've learned a little too much today. He felt a little too comfortable to a point where, you know I'm cool and I am approachable, but if there are things that I don't want to hear, keep them to yourself.
You better get that game face strong.
Yes.
Seriously. And honestly, there are some things that I just flat out tell them, I'm not your girl.
Yeah.
You take and go straight to Rich.
Yeah.
He will have this conversation with you.
That's great.
I'm not the one.
Yeah.
I'll be the one for everything else.
Yes.
But not this. You have to have those boundaries.
Yes.
So you and Jeff, that's your boyfriend?
Yes.
Boyfriend. And he has how many children?
4.
And you have?
0.
So you are literally stepping into this going, boots on.
Yeah.
We're doing it. We're learning.
We've got ex-wives. We've got it all.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's hard. I mean, it's nothing I've ever experienced before in my entire life.
Yeah.
Thank God I have a partner who I can say, this is really uncomfortable for me. And he says, I get it.
Have you been married before?
Never.
So this is...
Yeah.
What is it about him?
He is the kindest, most generous, just all around quality human being, like characteristics that I strive to have.
Oh, I love that.
And I interviewed him, like he has a charity and he takes care of orphans in Haiti.
Yes.
And immediately at the interview, I'm like, okay, hi.
No, I have to think this is a thing. Like, men come on the show and get sweet on you and think, like...
I'm so glad that you said that, because after his first date, which, by the way, I edited and wrote his story before we went on the date. So, the process. I interview you, I write the story, and then it goes to air.
Yes.
Well, I made sure I did all of that before we went on a private one-on-one date, romantic date.
Right.
Because I said I'm not going to let this be biased or anything. I'm going to get it out of the way. And I told him at the date, I said, I've only gone out on a date with 3 people in my entire career that I've interviewed people.
Okay.
Like, you got to be selective. This is not why I'm in the business.
So you're breaking hearts left and right. You're like, no, thank you.
No way.
You smelled weird, kid.
I mean, you can smell good too, but that's okay. But it's just, there's a level of professionalism.
Yeah.
That, like, I want you to take me professionally, and I take myself professionally.
Absolutely.
That, like, we're, even with the Jeff thing, like, I am serious about my career. I'm going to cut and write and edit the story, and then we'll go out on the date.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are boundaries. I'm better at setting professional boundaries than personal boundaries.
You know, I feel like that's pretty common, though.
Yeah.
People either have one or the other.
Yeah.
Truly. Like, Rich is a rock star with personal boundaries. He sucks professionally.
Really?
Oh, no, girl. I've had to force him to change his number because he'll be answering the phone at, like, midnight, 1, 2 o'clock. Because a lot of our clients are celebrities.
Yeah.
So they have a flip-flopped schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl. And I'm like, are we for real right now? We're really doing this? And, picks up the phone while he's working on 2 different things.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, just stop by. I'm like, no.
That's weird because Jeff's kind of similar in that way. I wonder if men and women are different in that sense.
Makes sense because we're the nurturers, so our personal lives tend to be a little messier.
Yes.
But our professional lives, because we're given permission
Right.
to be a little more
Right.
aggressive in that sense.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. We are just like uncovering a lot right now.
Figuring it out.
Yes.
We don't even need to go to college for this.
Yes.
No. Okay, so you really are fearless when it comes to these things, though. Like, you face life with such a tenacity and such a fearlessness. It's so encouraging to see this.
I don't even think of it that way.
Well, you should. You're a badass.
Thank you. You know, it's so funny because I come into Elite Customs. Every time I've come in here, I'm like, gosh, I'm such a little baby. Like,
What?
I'm such a puss.
No.
And because I don't have tattoos, I'm not like hard and,
Listen,
I'm
these are therapy for us. We get this because we can't punch people. So serious.
And I feel like, I don't know. Thank you for saying that about me because I don't see it myself.
Yeah, absolutely. You are out here doing the things that a lot of people are terrified to do. Not even with just like skydiving and getting on the back of motorcycles, which, by the way, I will not get on a motorcycle. No ma'am, no ham. Will not happen. No, I like it with 4 wheels on the ground at a time. But you are putting yourself in situations, talking to people, letting your guard down, showing up as just the most raw version of yourself while also keeping healthy, steady boundaries. And you're so good with... My dad used to have this saying when he was alive. He would say, if you have to step on someone's toes, make sure you wear pretty shoes. And you are literally living this daily. It's incredible to watch.
I hope I step on people's toes respectfully.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
100%.
good.
How do you get people to open up and feel less apprehensive and nervous when you're interviewing them?
I think, well, first of all, it goes back to that authenticity kind of thing.
Sure.
But you have to, first of all, make them feel like they're in a comfortable space.
Yeah.
When I first meet them, give them a hug, and I... look in people's eyes. I think that's so powerful.
Very.
And I also think that active listening is one of the most powerful tools that we can use in life. Mm-hmm. So when you're listening to someone talk and you hear that one little piece, that's your hook. Mm-hmm. So Paula Dean, this morning, I interviewed her.
Yeah.
But she was precious. I didn't even know this, but she walked in with her husband, and she said, oh, it's my anniversary. Well, I had no idea.
Oh.
And then I'm like, okay, that's my hook.
Yeah.
I'll go in with that. But it's simple things, like make a joke that's authentic and kind but funny and sweet. But you have to do it in your own way, again, what can you identify with another person? I think helping someone take down their walls is making fun of yourself too.
Mm-hmm.
And
letting them know you're a real person too,
yes,
with flaws and insecurities.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hey, I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. I think that is in life, no matter who you are, I see you for who you are, and hey, we all fuck up.
Good job.
Thank you. It's like the opposite, like the bank, the piggy bank, like I get the money at the end, right?
Yeah,
I'm not putting it in the bank.
Every time you curse, you get $1. Yes. You know what's so funny is that I gave that up for Lent. I'm trying. Let me.
We're like 2 days in, Sam.
Listen, I'm not. God knows I'm not perfect. He said, just do a little less, sister. That's all I'm asking.
That's good. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Proud of you.
Yes, thank you.
You're acknowledging, things that you're wanting to work on.
Listen, it's better than smoking meth.
Amazing. See, you're one step ahead.
So has this ever backfired on you, though? You connecting with people? Or making them feel, have they ever taken it and gone too far with it? Or have you ever had a stalker?
I hope not.
Well, a known stalker?
Honestly, no. I don't believe that I have.
That's awesome. Knock on wood fast.
Yes, we're knocking on wood. I've gotten jail mail, which I really like jail mail.
Wait, what?
Yes. Yeah, I've gotten letters
like you
from
have
the Department
admirers?
of Corrections. One
they
of
watch
them.
You?
Yeah, they have TVs.
Well, yeah.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And one of them had a $100,000 idea for a fashion line, but he wouldn't tell me.
Oh, well, of course not.
Another one.
You have to sign an NDA first.
Right. Another one.
Protecting his brand.
Said, hey, I've been wrongly convicted, and, a whole page and a half in, he's like, but I'm 6'5" and I'm single, and I was convicted of aggravated rape or something, assault, and I'm like, okay.
No, thank you. Best of luck.
But you know what? Like, even those people, I still feel this sense of like, hey, they have a story.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I think people love Jelly Roll.
Oh, yeah.
It's a story of redemption. And
yeah.
I think when you see people for their potential,
yeah,
I think they're able to shine.
For sure.
So, obviously you're friends with Bunny.
Yeah.
And this is not something that it went wrong, but it's actually hilarious. So the first time I interviewed Jelly Roll, I was so excited. And then...
Doesn't he give the best hugs, though?
I know! I was like, just hold me.
I know.
Like a little teddy bear.
I'm like, wait, how do you know I want to cry right now?
I am crying. It was at Bridgestone, and Bunny was there, and I went up to her afterwards. I said, oh my God, you're so beautiful. You're even more beautiful in real life. And she goes, girl, I know, you're beautiful too. I was looking at you when you were interviewing him.
I was probably was.
Okay. But she was totally herself and totally honest, and it wasn't backfired. It was just like a totally raw, real moment that I felt like, I'm so glad that you said it like that, because this is such a great story to tell. And I said, he really is like a teddy bear. And she's like, oh, yeah, he is.
He is. He hugs you from his soul.
Yes. You feel it.
Yeah. I love Bunny so much because as we were talking earlier, I was sharing how just blunt and to the point, mm-hmm. and it comes from the most sincere part of her heart. Mm-hmm. And she also does, I believe, shows up authentically as herself. Mm-hmm. Every day, she will show up dressed to the nines, all the hair in, the makeup, the glam, all the things, and be just as comfortable showing up in sweats and no makeup and a trucker hat. Mm-hmm. And she's just as sweet. We pulled a prank on her. And just so happened that we were working on her G-Wagon. redoing it, and we had Neil Lowry's G-Wagon from WWE. And we pulled it around front, and she specifically said, no green. I don't want any green on it anywhere. Purple and black, that's it. It was a green G-Wagon. And I was like, oh, yeah, do you love it? You know? And she had every right to be like, are you dumb? Bitch, we said no green. It is green. And there was no lighting, no nothing.
I'm not even getting in this. Take it away.
He just dropped it off. And she was like, is it green? Like Xavier was getting out. Xavier can't pull a prank. He laughs too much. I don't know how he held it together. And I could see the sweat forming on her top lip because she just paid us a lot of money.
Yes. She's
to
like, give me my money back.
Yeah. And she was like, we're going to have to talk about the green. Just about perfect time. And Rich rolled up with hers. And she was like, oh, my God. I was dying. But seriously, the sweetest, most humble human ever. Yeah. I love that. Have you ever met a celebrity that was the opposite of what you expected?
I don't know if I can do this. I don't think I can do this.
You don't have to say any names.
This is too much. This is too much.
What?
This is too much.
The podcast? I'm sorry. Y'all suck so bad.
No, y'all. I was in it. She laughed. She can't be that cute and laugh.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, we're talking about pranks, and I'm like, oh yeah, perfect timing.
I know. I kept trying to push. I was like, this has got to be the one.
I know. I'm horrible.
Tutu Saucy is absolutely
okay. Never mind.
Okay. Well, we tried.
We were trying to pull a prank on you.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He's cool.
You were supposed to storm off.
Go. I can't stop.
I just go with the flow. Like,
You were like,
okay.
She was so with it in the parking lot.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, I got you.
I was like, I'm here for it. I can do it. And then I'm like, okay,
I can't do it. Okay, never mind.
I now know my kryptonite. I can't. If you're sweet and you start giggling, I'm done. That's not going to get the truth.
I know. I looked at her. She's like,
man, that didn't take much on interrogation.
right.
Y'all are not going to be my accomplices in anything.
Yes.
Anything. They were like, she did it. She totally did it. Oh my God. Fab, slay queen. Sorry, Toots. Love you so much.
Tutu over here, he don't even know. He's just like, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds
He's
good.
rolling with
So
it.
calm.
Sounds good.
See, I'm the right accomplice.
Dude, to the grave. Dead at Tutu is my dude. All right, we're going to rally. Would have been a good one. I had to get you before, like, never mind. I'll try again.
I tried.
I will try
I'm sorry.
again. I will.
Okay.
I will get you one day. Mark it down.
Is there going to be like a hidden prank war now?
You're not allowed to participate. No.
Okay.
Well, and I did it, and he's just smiling over there, and I'm like, okay, wait, is this?
That's him. That's
He's like,
he is your jolly. He's like this. Are we going somewhere? Am I supposed to follow her? I'm gonna follow her. Get the mic. The sound sucks, y'all. I love you too. Oh, Lord. Okay. Oh, can we talk about social media?
Yeah.
Though, for real?
Yeah.
Okay. So, with social media moving at breakneck speed, how do you feel like that helps you or hinders you?
I mean, I feel like it helps me connect with people. I book a lot of guests through Instagram.
Okay.
Like, I'll see these awesome places.
Your
and I'm
Instagram
like,
is incredible, by the way.
you.
You're really doing
Thank you.
social media right.
Thank you. It is authentic.
It
The
is.
word of the hour. But it really is just about reaching out to people. And if I see something cool, just like you do on Instagram, I'm like, okay, let's book it. I don't think I've ever, and thankfully in this position, because we are such a positive show, I really haven't heard a lot of negative feedback, knock on wood, because like I'm talking about positive stuff. I don't know. I mean, I get an email here and there. But, you know, if someone doesn't like the way I talk, it's like, okay, well, like, this is...
Yeah, what do you want to do?
This is who I am, so I'm not going to change.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, though, people were really mean. Like, really mean. Like, what is this white girl doing? Like, you can't even speak. Things like that. And that's really hurtful. But for me, like, in this here and now, I can only say, like, positive things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, with social media, it doesn't make sense, in my opinion. Sometimes it's like people make their opinions based off the masses. So if you make a mistake or a misstep, that can almost be detrimental or helpful. You know, look at the Kardashians, you know, they're always having some kind of drama, but it plays out for their benefit.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have other people like Bunny made one mistake, you know, she's honestly, it was in the best. She found it intriguing, you know, everything surrounding Wade Wilson, and she didn't even say she wanted to like lick his face or anything. She just said it was interesting how the public was going gaga over him, and so I just wondered how that influenced what you talk about or how you interact on social media, because it can be the most positive place or toxic place. But something that you said earlier, and I want to touch on it if you're comfortable, is you're very into like energy working and crystal work and full moon, you know, charging and magic and stuff. So I'm assuming that you subscribe to where your energy is focused, it flows.
Yes.
That whole concept of manifestation and law of attraction and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so I feel like you knew before you knew.
Yeah.
With the authenticity. How are you implementing that now that you're eyes wide open, understanding that?
So, you know, I had this, when we were talking earlier, I had this flashback because you know how I talked about how I went to that very integrated school.
Yes.
And I wore Abercrombie. That was like my choice. That was what I liked. That was my interest. And I had at the time, and I'm going to circle it back around, I thought, okay, well, am I going to wear FUBU to fit in? Imagine me wearing FUBU. No shame, no, like,
You look like a bad episode of Bring It On.
I mean, right? I, in 7th grade, said, I'm going to choose to do myself, right? And ever since then, I feel like that was okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. And people can either love me or they cannot.
Yeah.
And I recognized that, hey, people did still like me for who I was.
Yeah.
Even if I wore Abercrombie and did my own thing. So, did I know? You never know. You don't know what you don't know, right? Right?
I love that saying.
I know, me too.
I love that.
And I think this whole time I've been ebbing and flowing in Hawaii, in Nashville, in Colorado. I'm like, well, I'm just going to show up and try and just be who I am. I think, did I know ahead of time? Absolutely not. I was just going with this, like, gut feeling of, like, I feel like I really have a strong conscience. Like, if I'm doing something bad, like, my radar is going off. Like, don't lie. Don't do this. Don't do that. Like, ever since I was a kid. And maybe that's what it is. Like, staying true to yourself is like, hey, you're lying if you're not showing up as your full self. So maybe that's where it comes from. But I think I've always had a very strong faith my entire life.
Would you consider yourself more spiritual then?
I would say yes. And 1,000%. Because I feel things. And maybe it's the Cancer in me, but I feel everything. I feel every conversation that I have. Like, when you talked about that flood, I was, like, getting the chills. I was like, oh, man. Like,
Yeah.
and you were calling people and they were on their drive home.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you, like, that's my North Star, if you will.
Yes.
That's my, like, guiding point, is, like, that feeling deep down within me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I knew ahead of time, but I always knew that feeling within.
Yeah. I feel like what you're talking about then is less intentional manifestation and more trusting and allowing. Like, you just have this inner knowing that everything is going to work out in your favor. You don't have to doubt it. You don't even have to ask for it or second guess it. It's happening. You just have to ride the wave.
And I think that's the hardest part about manifesting things, because I'll never forget, I read The Law of Attraction, in college. I'm like, oh my God, this is brilliant. And I want this. I want to work at a news station. The more that I did that when I was in Denver, when I was in Colorado, and it wasn't happening, and I'm like, what am I doing? God, like, why? I wasn't listening to that voice within. I had all the things in place. But I wasn't listening to that gut feeling.
Yeah.
So I think that is the most powerful tool is, yeah, you can visualize what you want, but it's that allowing and going with the gut feeling of everything's going to be okay. And allowing, the more we allow things to unfold, the better they unfold.
Yeah.
Like, you can have an idea of what you want, but if you let it go and go with that gut feeling of, hey, I'm open to receiving, it is bigger and better than you imagine.
I love that so much. It takes the responsibility off of us. It takes your hands off the wheel, and all you have to do is, like, let the cruise control take in effect.
Ride. Yeah.
I love that. What a freeing space to live in. So you never have to wonder or worry where your next guest is going to come from, if it's going to work out, if this is going to, be beneficial to you. You know it will be, even if it feels like a setback. It's like the arrow analogy. You're being pulled back to catapult forward.
Ooh, yeah, I love that. I love a good metaphor.
Yes.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
That's a good
absolutely.
one.
Well, thank you so much. I have really, really enjoyed this.
Me
Is there
too.
anything else that you really just feel like you want to talk about or get off your chest?
Well, I just want to say thank you so much.
Yeah.
I am going to put it on the record of how much I love and appreciate you and Rich and how kind you are, and just, you guys are quality, good people.
Thank
and
you.
I'm so honored and blessed to have met you, because when you're around good people, I feel like you're able to shine more, and I feel like you do that with me. Every time I leave any interaction with you, even if it's just a, hey, I'm checking out my car, I feel like happier and lighter and just appreciate my time with you. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. That means a lot, because sometimes I feel like we can get lost in the shuffle in our
Totally.
industries, but it's really about the individual interactions, not the big picture necessarily. But
I've known that from the beginning.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. And where do you want people to check you out?
My Instagram, the Laura Schweizer, and then local on 2 every Monday through Friday, WKRN Channel 2 at 2:00.
Yes, don't miss that. And it's also on YouTube. If you miss the live version, you can go back and watch the clips.
Yes.
That's how I catch up on everything.
Yes, the WKRN playlist, local on 2 playlist.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. All right, and we'll have everything linked in the show notes. Laura, you rock.
You rock.